47 Weeks, Life and Learnings of a Dietetic Intern. Hey guys! Welcome back to 47 Weeks. It's week 31. I finished my first week in hemodialysis and I'm really liking nephrology. Have I said that before? I spent the week reviewing a lot of materials like the Essential Guide for Renal Dietitians and then another intern's binder, and my preceptor showed me how to review charts and really know what to look for when it comes to a renal patient. You can go through the chart quickly and efficiently. Tuesday morning we went to grand rounds and the topic for that week was malnutrition in Canadian hospitals. I was really surprised to hear that out of the 18 hospitals in a certain study on malnutrition, only one of them had a nutrition screening protocol, so they screened all the patients for their nutrition status. Now, Nova Scotia Health Authority does have a screening system, but they just weren't part of that study. But I was still shocked at how few hospitals do this. It seems super important considering that 45% of patients are malnourished in hospitals. And unfortunately, a lot of the time, the blame might get put on the dietitian when in fact it's a whole system that needs to change and the culture around it as well. This week I also sat in on a kidney treatment options class. So there was an LPN that went over peritoneal dialysis and how it works, hemodialysis, and the pros and cons of each for individuals that are newly diagnosed with CKD. My preceptor follows hemodialysis patients on both the HI and the VG sites. So we got to go to both and she introduced me to her patients. And next week is actually going to be a lot more busy because they have to do blood work every 6 weeks just to make sure that their phosphorus and their potassium and everything's in line. So next week we'll actually be giving them their report cards and going over their blood work and then seeing where there needs to be a consult and where things are going well. Friday was my preceptor's red day, so I spent the day with 2 other renal dietitians. It's just so great to be able to talk to different dietitians in the same area or in different areas and just see how they do things that are similar and different, and it really helps you learn what you want to be like when you become a dietitian. Things you want to continue to do when you have your own interns and things that you might do differently. And just the styles of talking to patients. It's really fascinating. The dietitian that I was with on Friday dealt with more peritoneal dialysis patients. So she gave me lots of materials to go through and I got to learn about what the whole process would look like. And I was really impressed when she could take a diet history and just quickly count up all the grams of protein and all these different food items and estimate whether they're meeting their needs. So that's really what I want to work on. I want to be that quick when it comes to food record assessment. And on top of those things, I also finished my recipe booklet, and this week I did all the nutritional analysis for all the different recipes in there. There's like entrees and breakfasts and side dishes and sauces and seasonings and desserts, so I'm pretty prepped. What's really cool about nephrology is they have My Nephrology, which is a system where they enter their consults and information about a patient, their diagnosis, into a computer system, so it's much easier to track and it's easier to read. So I got to learn how to use that program. Other than that, I also worked Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, but it's really good that I'm getting more shifts again. I finally have money. And I also did my taxes this weekend. The dietitian I was with on Friday also worked with individuals that had had a kidney transplant, so we got to go talk to one of those patients, and when she talked about snacks, she called them snacky poo, which was really funny. The dietitians are just so approachable and easy to talk to. I'm really lucky I got to be in nephrology. Speaking of how lucky I am, check it out! Now the other interns would know that this book is like $150 to $200, but it's really great because it gives you the diagnosis for the patient and as well as it walks you through each PES statement for whatever possible reason they might have. And my preceptor from the Nutrition Education Clinic gave it to me because she thought that I could use it more than she could. So it meant a lot. So other than being blown away by the talk of malnutrition in hospitals, other things I learned this past week were about food demineralization. So I knew that individuals could boil and pre-soak potatoes as a way to help reduce the amount of potassium in them, but I didn't know that you could do that with more than just potatoes and more than just with vegetables. You could do that with cantaloupe, avocados, tomatoes, all these kinds of cheese, bologna. So I know some of these, I feel like the texture would be a little too mushy for me to enjoy, but it's really cool that there's ways to eat the foods that you like, even when you have renal disease. Or somebody that doesn't have renal and wants to eat a bunch of bologna, it'll be much better if you boil it to at least reduce the amount of salt in it, because it's really high. And ham. Ham is really, really salty. I learned that peanuts are a legume, they're not a nut. That was fascinating. So somebody can have an allergy to other kinds of nuts, but not peanuts, or vice versa. I've also learned about how hard it can be for an individual, any kind of patient that at one point in their life was non-compliant for whatever reason, and how that can just follow you many years into the future, no matter how hard you might try to change your life and manage your condition. And then you have to watch certain individuals just get dismissed in healthcare as, not worth their time because they're not going to be compliant anyway, when in fact they've changed and they need your help and they need you to listen and believe them. It's really where you have to advocate for the patient when you can. I've also learned just how important it can be to make sure that you're writing clearly in physician's orders and specifying what you want, because deadly errors can happen. And my preceptor told me a story of when an individual that was supposed to have gotten a restricted potassium diet instead got 292 bananas worth of potassium, and they did not make it. It was quite from some time ago, but it just shows that you really have to, just one word like diet could really make a difference. So tonight we have dinner plans with Christina and Craig. It's Mediterranean night and I'm making my Greek salad. I work again next week, and Skylar and I have plans to go to Bike Again. Bike Again is actually a place where you can go and you can bring in your bike and volunteers will help you fix your own bike. So if your brakes aren't working or whatever you want to do, you can learn to fix your bike and you leave feeling really accomplished. So our bikes are all, rusty after the winter, so that's gonna be really fun. And my preceptor gave me some case study questions to work on, so I'll be doing that next week. And working on all the blood work, so it's gonna be busy. Monday night, I'm super excited. My good friend from Wolfville, Catherine, is coming to spend the night with me, and we're gonna have a girls' night. 16 weeks to go, can't believe it. Thanks for watching, and remember, sustain your body, sustain your life.